Over 13 million people are stalked in the U.S. alone each year. Some survive, some don't. I should know. I was stalked by one of the most notorious serial killers in South Louisiana, Derek Todd Lee. However, what happens when someone is stalked for months, moving from state to state, house to house, town to town, living in fear day in and day out, only to be found by their stalker? And once they are found, they are tortured and sadly, brutally murdered. Could she have been saved? Let's find out right now. Terrifying Tuesday, my Cajun cuties. Yes, it's me, Anne-Marie, aka the Cajun Crime Queen from Klinke, Louisiana. Cajun born, Cajun bred, and when I die, I'll be Cajun dead. I hope after this video that you like, subscribe, and comment. And don't forget to press the notification bell so you never miss a video from me, Anne-Marie. And as always, thank y'all for joining me on this terrifying Tuesday evening as we discuss another true crime case. How are y'all doing on this terrifying Tuesday evening? I feel like I haven't made a Tuesday video in months. Gosh, it feels like it's been forever. So I wanted to make a video for y'all tonight. And tonight I'm taking y'all back to 2003 in Turlock, California. And I didn't even know where Turlock, California was, so I looked it up. And it's near Modesto, California, which is sadly where Laci Peterson disappeared back in 2002. And this case has to do with stalking. And before I begin discussing this case, I always discuss my cases with other people before I film because I want to get everyone's thoughts about the case. And a lot of people say, well, stalking's not a big deal. Stalking's not a big deal. They'll stalk you for a couple of weeks or months. They'll call you, they'll show up where you are, and then they go away. Yes, that does happen. It does happen. However, sometimes stalking does lead to worse things. A lot of people say, well, I'll just put a restraining order against a person. Yeah, that could help. But do you really think that a little piece of paper that tells them to stay away from you is going to work if the person is seriously unhinged? Probably not. If they want to get to you, they will get to you. If they want to see where you work, if they want to see what you're wearing, if they want to see who you're with, if they want to see what you're doing, they are going to make a point to find you. And in this case, this was very, very sad. Margaret Mary Peggy Klinke was born on December 2nd, 1970 in Youngstown, Ohio. She had two sisters and one brother. Everyone that met Peggy said she was lovely, she was vibrant, she was happy. She was always, always, always smiling. And all she wanted to do was make sure her family was proud of her and to make everyone feel loved and special. Peggy was all about health and fitness. She was a yoga instructor. She was a fitness instructor. She was all about being healthy. So she decided she wanted to become a doctor. So in the fall of 1998, when Peggy was only 27 years old, she moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where she enrolled in pre-med classes at the University of New Mexico. While Peggy was there, she met a fellow student named Patrick Kennedy. She said he was sweet, he was loving, he was charming, and he was very compassionate. He asked her out for coffee, they went on a date, and all of a sudden, they were dating. Peggy says that Patrick wanted to move in together. He was on the fast track to love. He wanted to be with Peggy all the time. Just Peggy, 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 Peggy. That, in my opinion, is a red flag. And let me tell y'all why I think this is a red flag. Let me pause and tell y'all why. I know I gotta pause. When a person is on the fast track in a relationship, like, let's move in, let's fall in love, let's get a house, let's do this, it's a form of control, in my opinion. They wanted to control the relationship right off the bat. They want to make sure they control you. They want to make sure they do everything in a row. You know what I mean? It's just boom, 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 boom. Everything's flying at you. You're just being love bombed. Peggy and Patrick eventually do move in together. They move in together, and this is when everything starts to change. Everyone notices that Patrick is putting Peggy down a lot. He is very controlling, telling her what to wear, where to go, what time to be back. just constantly making fun of her, and then hours later apologizing. Now, I don't know about y'all, but let me tell y'all about me. I was in a relationship like that, and it is very, very heartbreaking when someone puts you down, makes fun of you, controls you, then apologizes. But you know, even though they are apologizing, they do not mean it. Why don't they mean it? Because they know they will do it again. And Patrick was constantly putting Peggy down. And everyone started to notice her behavior was completely changing because she always felt low about herself. Her self-esteem was in the tank. She didn't want to go anywhere. She didn't want to do anything. She knew she couldn't dress a certain way. She knew she couldn't go certain places. So Peggy was slowly starting to just want to break away from this relationship. However, she didn't know how. In my personal opinion, Patrick seems very insecure, and putting people down makes him feel secure and powerful about himself. However, he is dragging Peggy down. She can't take it anymore. She's making herself sick. She's not eating. She's vomiting. She wants to break this vicious cycle. She wants to break the pattern of him putting her down, then saying, I'm sorry, then doing it again the next day. It is a vicious cycle that will continue until you put a stop to it. So Peggy decides she has had enough. Yep, good for Peggy. She wants out of their relationship. So in March of 2002, while Patrick isn't home, she packs up all of her stuff and moves out to an apartment on the other side of town. Well, Patrick gets home, and of course, he is livid. He is so angry. He calls Peggy. He's begging for her to come back. He wants her to come home, saying, I'm going to change. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, blah, 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 which it never happens. Peggy said, no, we're done. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be with you. Let's just move on. Now, let me tell you all this. This is just me and my opinion and how I am. Once I'm done in a relationship, I'm done. I'm done. We don't need to leave that door open. We don't. It has to close. And when I say it like this. There should be no more phone calls, no more friends with benefits, no more meeting up, no more dates. If you want to be done with that person, you need to clean the slate. It's done, and there's no turning back. And that's what Peggy wanted. She wanted absolutely nothing to do with Patrick because she was completely done with the relationship. But Patrick is relentless. How could Peggy dump him? How can Peggy do this to him? He was so angry at this time. And this is when he begins stalking Peggy. He's calling her hundreds of times a day, leaving messages, doing all of these crazy things. He is unhinged at this time and doesn't know what to do with himself. Everyone is telling her, Peggy, you need to go to the police. This is ridiculous. He's calling you hundreds of times a day. She looks at her friends and family and say, what am I supposed to do? Bring my phone to the police station? You think that's going to stop him? He's not going to stop harassing me. And he didn't stop. A new man by the name of Mark Sparks enters Peggy's life. He is sweet, he is loving and compassionate, and he is crazy about Peggy. He sweeps Peggy off of her feet. The two are crazy about each other. Mark is the complete opposite of Patrick, and Peggy's family and friends love Mark, and they are so happy that Peggy has found such a sweet and kind man. Well, guess who finds out about Mark Sparks? Yep, Patrick Kennedy. And let me tell y'all something. First, he's already upset that Peggy left him. Now, Peggy has a new man. It is like throwing gasoline on the fire. He is now the ultimate pissed. I mean, he is crazy upset now and doesn't know what to do with himself. And have y'all been in that position? I have. When someone leaves you and you're already sad, you're already crying, you're already depressed, and then boom, they got a whole nother person. Oh, it's just a gut-wrenching feeling. But you have to respect that person, respect their decision, and move on the best way you know how. But Patrick couldn't move on. What does Patrick do? He finds out Mark's cell phone number and begins harassing Mark day in and day out, the same way he has been harassing Peggy. So Peggy, sweet and kind like she is, she tells Mark, listen, if you want to leave me, I understand. I don't want to lose you, but I don't want you to be harassed day in and day out like I am. So I understand if you want to walk away from this relationship. He's like, heck no, I'm not walking away from this relationship. I love you. You love me. We're not going to let this ban come between us and ruin our relationship. He wanted to stick it out with Peggy. And Mark said to himself and said to Peggy as well, Patrick's going to get bored with this. Eventually, he's going to give up and he's going to see that we're living a happy, healthy life and he's going to move on. Would Patrick do that? Oh, no. Patrick is getting more and more and more obsessed with Peggy. Everything that he does has to do with Peggy. He can't eat, he can't sleep, he can't brush his teeth, he can't do anything without thinking about Peggy. So he knows Peggy's going to be walking by. So he hides in some bushes, carrying a dozen roses and engagement ring. And when Peggy walks by, he jumps out of the bushes, gives Peggy the roses and has an engagement ring and asks Peggy to marry him. Peggy says absolutely nothing. She doesn't even acknowledge him and just keeps walking by. He is furious at this point. How could Peggy not even acknowledge his presence? He was so angry, so he steps it up. He steps it up. Peggy wants nothing to do with him, and he knows that. So he is now getting angry. He prints up hundreds and hundreds of 8x11 flyers with Peggy's picture on it. And it says things like, hi, my name is Peggy. I will sleep with your husbands. I'm a whore. I'm a slut. I have an STD. And if you want, I can give it to you. Here's my phone number. And this is what if you want to see me or you want to sleep with me, here you go. And he takes these flyers and distributes them all over Albuquerque, where Peggy works, where Peggy gets her nails done, where she gets her hair done, where she does yoga. Everywhere that Peggy goes, he puts these flyers everywhere. Now, Peggy has enough at this point. I mean, I would be losing my mind. I mean, you're going to take my picture and put all of these disgusting things on a flyer, and you're going to put them all over the places where I go? Who does that? Who does that? Are you that crazy that you're going to do that? Yes, Patrick was crazy at this time, taping these flyers all over telephone poles, putting them in the cars by the windshield wipers. Peggy finally goes to the police. And what do the police say? They can't do anything because it's just a piece of paper. Just a piece of paper? That is degrading on so many levels to put that on this flyer and put it all over Albuquerque. But because there wasn't enough evidence against Patrick Kennedy, there was no way the police could do anything or even put Patrick in jail. Peggy now knows that Patrick knows everywhere she's going to be. He is watching her every move. She is terrified at this point. Now, Mark and Peggy have to fly to Orlando to attend Peggy's brother's wedding. They are excited about this wedding and they can finally get their minds off of Patrick. They don't want to think about him. They don't want to hear about him. They want to get away and they just want to do their own thing. However, that wouldn't happen. While at the wedding, Mark is getting dozens of messages on his phone saying that his house is on fire. And according to arson investigation, the fire was no accident. This fire was started by someone. Everyone knew Patrick Kennedy started the fire at Mark's home, but no one could prove it. Peggy and Mark are devastated at this point. They are just shocked. They have no place to live or anything. Mark's house has been burned down. And Patrick also knew that Peggy's mother was going to be out of town for the wedding. So Patrick flew all the way to Ohio to spray paint "PK is a whore" on Peggy's mother's garage door. Now this man was so crazy that he flew to another state just to spray paint something on someone's door. That's how obsessed he is with Peggy. First, he lights Mark's house on fire, allegedly, and then he goes to Ohio to spray paint PK is a whore on Peggy's mother's door. This is crazy. He is severely unhinged at this time and needs help. Peggy is just besides herself. I mean, what is she gonna do? Her and Mark are living in hotels because the house is being burned. The house was burned down. She knows that it's only a matter of time before Patrick is going to harm her. She knows that. And in my opinion, I feel that Patrick is probably getting tired of all of this. He's probably tired of all of this living in his head constantly. So he may be thinking to himself, if I can't have you, Peggy, no one will. Just remember that saying. Patrick is now displaying criminal behavior, vandalizing Peggy's mother's property, setting Mark's house on fire, allegedly, and there is no evidence that Patrick did this, but everyone knows it was Patrick. Peggy has had enough. She has a binder with over 300 pages documenting everything Patrick has done while he is harassing her. She brings him to the police station. They look through everything. Peggy is very detailed on every single time Patrick has harassed her and Mark as well. Patrick Kennedy is brought in on stalking charges, and he has a trial set for January 24th, 2003. However, that is 5 months away, and Peggy is scared to death at this time. Now, I have to say this. I know I gotta pause and say this. Why wouldn't the police keep Patrick in custody until the trial? If they saw in this binder how dangerous Patrick Kennedy was, why wouldn't they have held him until the trial? He is just walking free. He can do whatever he wants. If he wanted, if he wants to, he can harass Peggy. He can harass Mark. He can do whatever he can. Peggy and Mark decide that it is safe to move Peggy thousands of miles away to Turlock, California, to get her away from Patrick Kennedy because the trial is so far away. Peggy decides to move. Mark does not go with her. Now, I don't know why Mark doesn't go with her. I don't know if it's because of his job. Maybe he has children. I don't know the situation. But Peggy does go to California all by herself. She tells no one her phone number. She tells no one her address. She doesn't call anybody. She wants to be completely off the grid. She does not want Patrick Kennedy to find her. Well, where there's a will, there's a way. And she knew eventually Patrick would find her. And Patrick did. He hired a private investigator. He found out her address. He found out she was in California. He boards the first plane to California. He checks a rifle and a handgun. He lands in California, rents a car, finds Peggy's home, breaks into her garage, and is hiding in her garage, waiting for Peggy to come inside the garage. Peggy Klinke has no idea that Patrick Kennedy is in her town, in California, and now in her own home. Exactly 1 week before the trial was to begin, on Saturday, January 18th, 2003, Patrick Kennedy broke into Peggy Klinke's garage. As she opened her garage door, he jumped out behind a stack of boxes. He grabbed Peggy, he duct taped her hands, he duct taped her mouth, and began beating her on the head with his gun. He beat her so severely that her blonde hair was completely red, soaked in blood. By chance, Peggy escapes Patrick. She runs to the neighbor's house. She runs up the neighbor's stairs. She calls 911 and she tells them, Patrick Kennedy is here. He's been stalking me. He's going to kill me. Please hurry. Please get here. I'm afraid he's going to kill both of us. What are we going to do? Please hurry. The 911 call dispatcher keeps Peggy on the phone and she says, no, I have to hang up. Patrick breaks into the neighbor's home. He finds Peggy. Peggy tells the dispatcher, I have to go. He's going to kill me. Patrick holds Peggy at gunpoint. She tells the SWAT team, don't come in here. He's going to kill me. The SWAT team tells her, Peggy, let's not think about that. Let's think about your family. Peggy tells the SWAT team, tell my mother I love her. Tell my niece she will always have a guardian angel. And tell my sister who was pregnant to name her baby after me. And immediately after that, Patrick Kennedy shoots Peggy Klinke in the head, then turns the gun on himself and takes his own life. That day, Peggy Klinke knew she was going to die. She knew Patrick Kennedy was going to find her. And sadly, she lost the battle. Patrick found her and he murdered her. And let me tell y'all something else. Peggy even told the DA, is it going to take a bullet in my head for y'all to realize that this man is stalking me and going to kill me? Peggy felt like nothing was being done. Patrick was free to walk around and continue to stalk Peggy. He wanted it to end, and Patrick knew if he couldn't have her, no one could. So he decided to take Peggy's life and his life as well. My final thought, I always give y'all my final thought. And my final thought is stalking is real. I repeat, stalking is real. It is not something to joke around with. It is not something to play with. When you hear someone say, I think so-and-so is stalking me, believe them. Believe them, because it does happen. It happens way too often in this world. I should know. Back in 2002, 2003, we had a serial killer wandering around South Louisiana, in Lafayette, Louisiana, Baton Rouge, everywhere. Do you know how scared I was? I was so frightened that I would go to UL. I was going to UL in Lafayette, Louisiana. I would get home, and if my parents weren't home, I was living with my parents. If they weren't home, I would drive to the store down the road, stay in my car, get in the backseat of my car, lay down and study so no one could even see I was in the car or where the car was. I mean, I was frightened. And that's just a serial killer walking around. Just think about the people that know for a fact someone is stalking their every move. How scary is that? That is terrifying to think about. Absolutely terrifying to know that this person is watching your every move. And by the way, these people must not work. If they know where you are 24/7, if they know where you live, if they find out who your boyfriend or girlfriend is, they know all about your life. They are consumed with you. That is all they care about. That is all they think about. And sometimes a restraining order, a protective order, that does not faze a person at all. They're like, oh, I don't care. I'll go to jail. So just always be careful. And remember, stay safe. Always be aware of your surroundings and always know that I'm here for each and every one of you. I hope after this video that you like, subscribe, and comment. And don't forget to press notification bell so you never miss a video from me, Anne Marie. And as always, thank you all for the love and support. And for you, I am truly grateful. I love each and every one of y'all. And I will see y'all tomorrow night with more Cajun Crime Queen videos. Y'all have a great evening, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye.